He's really good, right? So what is growth and how much improvement, what does it look like? I think, just whatever, he can get a lot better. Everyone can, but it's going to look in subtle ways. You know what I mean? Whatever, not to sound, whatever coach speak, but to the layman or the untrained eye, it might not be as noticeable, his improvements. People are going to look at stats, and those are easy things to look at, and that can be improvement. But decision making, because not everyone knows what's involved in the decision making that he's making, I think is one of the easiest things. And then the total mechanics of the offense, I think you would see from him as just the total comfort. So it's a little bit of a long way to answer your question, but I think he can improve a lot in year two.
I'm sorry, you mentioned earlier this month it being more of a collaborative thing with him this year, and I was just wondering, what does that mean? Like, how would you explain that to us?
Okay.
For example.
Yep. So for example, with him, okay, and I've always done this, but I did last week with him. I said, okay, hey Drew, we got our last week of fall camp. What are some things that you want to rep again or reintroduce? Or here's the list of things I haven't introduced yet. Here's the list of things we've done. What do you want to go back and reemphasize? Which of these do you want to add? That would be a great example at this time of year that what we're doing. When you get into a game week, hey Drew, here's what we're thinking for 3rd and 1, whatever, 3rd and 10. Okay, here are the 5 plays. What do you think of them? They're good. Which one would you want to make the first one and why? Right. So you're having real dialogue about him with it, and him being involved in that process. Because he's mature, because he's got experience, because of his football acumen allows that to happen.
Andy, how would you evaluate the development of the tight ends throughout fall camp so far?
Really impressive. I think someone asked about Andrew Rapplier earlier in camp, and I tell you, he has totally knocked the rust off, which has been awesome to see. I think the last 2 weeks have been fantastic for him. We always talk about Khalil Dinkins, and I say that I don't talk enough about him, right? Okay, I said that last year, and then you have Luke Reynolds, and so you look at those 3 guys who are probably going to have the lion's share of the reps right now. But I'm super excited about the youth in that room and the other guys that are in there, and where they're going to progress and develop. So the development of that whole group has been fantastic. It's credit to Coach Howell, Coach Rocca, what they're doing to those guys, because they're good. And the kids, right? They're doing an awesome job learning.
Similarly to the wide receivers, what have you seen from their growth, and specifically with Drew getting comfortable with his new targets?
Well, you kind of answered the question a little bit with there's growth and relationship with Drew. There's an understanding of what we're doing offensively. And quite candidly, they're showcasing what they're capable of doing, right? You see him making plays, you see him making big-time contested catches, you see him, interacting with Drew at a level. It's like, hey, you got to get to this spot back here. If Drew says that, he goes, all right, I got you, I understand that. So that's where they're growing.
Talking about Dinkins specifically, Tyler was a 5th-year guy last year. Khalil was the elder statesman of the tight ends room this year. Do you see any similarities between those two?
Well, I think they both do, yes, right? They're different, but they're similar. You count on them both to catch balls. You count on them both to block. You know what I mean? And be true all-around tight ends, and that's hard. That's easier to say than actually do for the tight end spot. There's most guys that really kind of excel at one end of the spectrum or the other, right? As a ball catcher or a blocker. Dink and Ty showed elite traits in both of those areas, which is rare.
Andy, James said